Welcome to Stories of History. I'm your guide, Virgilio. Europe in September 1939. The air thick with tension, the world's on the brink of war. And then a twist that nobody saw coming. Two dictators, Hitler and Stalin, sworn ideological enemies They sign a pact, a non-aggression treaty, the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, named after their foreign ministers. It'd be like finding out your worst enemies are suddenly best buds, and you're the one that they're about to pick on. This pact and the invasion of Poland that followed. That's where our deep dive begins today. We'll uncover the cynical power play behind it, the devastating impact, and the echoes that it still sends through history, right up to the present day. Now you might be thinking, a non-aggression pact sounds peaceful enough, right? Well, here's where things get interesting. Hidden within the pact were secret clauses. These clauses outline the division of Eastern Europe, with Poland and the Baltic states carved up between Hitler and Stalin. Think about that for a moment. Two regimes publicly condemning each other's beliefs, secretly making a deal to split the spoils of conquest. It was a betrayal of everything they claimed to stand for, all in the name of power. But to really grasp the weight of this pact, we need to rewind a bit. By 1939, Hitler was already on a roll. He'd annexed Austria, taken the Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia, and eventually swallowed Czechoslovakia whole. The Western powers, mainly Britain and France, they were desperately trying to avoid another war. They adopted a policy of appeasement, hoping that by giving Hitler some of what he wanted, they could satisfy his ambitions and maintain peace. But appeasement backfired spectacularly. It just emboldened Hitler, proving to him that the West was weak and wouldn't stand up to him. What's even more fascinating is that amidst this growing crisis, the Soviets actually offered to form an anti-Hitler coalition with Britain and France. Can you imagine the alternate timeline if that had happened? But suspicion ran deep. The West doubted Stalin's motives and declined the offer, a missed opportunity that might have changed the course of history. So the stage was set, the pact was signed, and Poland found itself caught in the middle. But Hitler never won for subtlety. He needed a reason to invade, a justification for his aggression. So what did he do? He staged a fake attack. On September 1st, 1939, the world woke to news of a Polish attack on a German radio station. It was all a fabrication, a false flag operation. Hitler even used concentration camp prisoners dressed as Polish soldiers to make the charade more convincing. It was a blatant lie designed to manufacture a pretext for war, adding insult to injury for the soon-to-be victims. So with this fabricated excuse in hand, the Nazi war machine just roared into Poland from the west. The brutality was immediate and shocking. A blitzkrieg. It just overwhelmed Polish defenses. And just 17 days later, Stalin made his move. After carefully watching the world's reaction, or should I say lack thereof, Soviet forces invaded Poland from the east, just as the secret pact had outlined. Imagine being in Poland at that moment, your nation already under attack, now facing a second invasion from a supposed ally. It was a betrayal of unimaginable proportions, leaving the Polish people trapped between two ruthless dictatorships. And you might be wondering about Poland's allies, Britain and France. They had pledged to defend Poland's independence, but their response was hesitant and ultimately ineffective. France launched a limited offensive, but quickly retreated. Britain, meanwhile, mostly resorted to dropping propaganda leaflets on Germany, hardly the kind of support that could turn the tide of war. Poland, facing overwhelming force on two fronts, fought bravely but was ultimately crushed. The Nazi-Soviet pact and the invasion it enabled marked the beginning of World War II, a conflict that would engulf the globe and claim tens of millions of lives. But amidst the tragedy and chaos, there's a small, almost ironic detail worth exploring. The story of the Molotov cocktail. You've probably heard of it. That simple yet deadly incendiary device. A bottle filled with flammable liquid and a rag for a fuse. But did you know that this weapon got its name? During another conflict involving the Soviet Union, just a few months before the invasion of Poland, Stalin had set his sights on Finland. He had signed a non-aggression pact with Finland, just like he did with Poland. And just like with Poland, he broke that pact without hesitation. When the Soviets invaded Finland, they claimed they weren't bombing the Finns, just delivering food supplies. The Finns, facing a much larger and better-equipped enemy, had to get creative. They relied on guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, and whatever weapons they could improvise. The Molotov cocktail became one of their most effective tools. They sarcastically dubbed it the Molotov cocktail, as a twisted toast to the Soviet foreign minister Vyacheslav Molotov, the man who had claimed they were dropping humanitarian aid. It was a darkly humorous way of saying, "Thanks for the food, Molotov, here's a drink in return." The Molotov cocktail quickly became a symbol of Finnish resistance, their refusal to be bullied by a superpower, and the name stuck, spreading throughout the world as a testament to the ingenuity and defiance of those fighting for their freedom against seemingly impossible odds. Now fast forward to September 2019. Poland commemorated the 80th anniversary of the Nazi invasion. The German president attended the ceremony and offered a powerful apology to Poland, acknowledging the devastation caused by Germany and expressing remorse for the suffering inflicted on the Polish people. But there was a notable absence at this commemoration. Vladimir Putin, the leader of Russia, was not invited. Why? Because Russia's official stance on their role in the invasion remains, to put it mildly, complicated. They continue to deny responsibility for the invasion, even going so far as to justify it as a security measure necessary to protect the Soviet Union from a supposedly hostile Poland. This clashing narrative, this refusal to fully acknowledge the past, highlights a deeply sensitive issue in Polish-Russian relations. It's a reminder of the lasting wounds of history and the difficulty of reconciling different interpretations of the past. It also underscores how events like the Nazi-Soviet Pact and the invasion of Poland continue to shape geopolitical dynamics even today. This Nazi-Soviet Pact, it wasn't just about land grabs. It was a stark demonstration of realpolitik, where ideology, takes a backseat to cold, hard power. It showed how easily alliances can shift when self-interest is at stake, a chilling lesson that resonates even today. Think about it. The Pact shattered the illusion of a clear-cut battle between fascism and communism. It revealed the unsettling truth that even sworn enemies, they can find common ground when it suits their purposes. And for the people of Poland, caught in the crosshairs of this cynical power play, it was a devastating betrayal that left deep scars on their national psyche. So what can we learn from this dark chapter in history? The Nazi-Soviet Pact and the invasion of Poland stand as a stark reminder of the dangers of appeasement, the fragility of alliances, and the importance of vigilance against totalitarian regimes. It's a story about the human cost of unchecked ambition, the consequences of broken promises, and the enduring legacy of trauma and mistrust. But it's also a story about resilience, about the courage of those who resisted oppression, and the enduring hope for a world where such tragedies are never repeated. It's a reminder that history isn't just a collection of dates and facts, but a tapestry woven with human choices, both noble and devastating. And understanding those choices, those moments where history could have veered in a different direction, is crucial if we want to navigate the complexities of our own time. And that's your deep dive into the beginning of World War II, a conflict sparked by a pact built on lies, and a brutal invasion that shattered the peace of Europe. It's a story that continues to resonate, offering valuable lessons about the nature of power, the importance of standing up for what's right, and the enduring need for understanding and empathy. In a world that can often feel divided, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep those minds engaged. We'll see you on the next Stories of History.